I was recently looking at some of my old boat life footage when I had a light bulb moment and a deep realization as to why boat life is so addictive and so fantastic if you get it. If you really connect with boat life, it can be like nothing else on earth. And I think that these two different clips of a beautiful summer's day boat trip and this absolutely wonderful early morning cycling commute to work absolutely exemplary of the best of boat life, because obviously, I mean, look at where we are. A beautiful day, a beautiful sky above, and we're in this rural paradise. But also, they help illustrate that deeper light bulb moment realization, which was not just that you get to experience moments like this, but you get to experience them at such a slow pace you can't help but realise how fantastic, wonderful, and brilliant it all is as it's happening to you. And I know that can apply to many different things in life, but I mean, just look at this. What an amazing clip this is. This is a real life moment from my actual lived experience. Passing all these beautiful boats under a beautiful sky before the world had really woken up. And just think what's going through my mind at that point. I'm almost forced to realise how lucky I am, how incredible this moment is. Just like this here, travelling even slower on a lovely little boat. Nothing fancy, nothing exceptional like the boat, but the experience and the environment is everything I could have ever asked it to be. And more than that, I'm happening to go through all this at 3-4 miles an hour tops. And so because of that, I'm there, stood on the back of a boat, travelling through a rural wonderland, and it's impossible for me not to see how brilliant it is. And sometimes you might be stood on the back of the boat for hours on end, really drinking it in, and you might get a couple of herons flying off as you approach them. You might get a kingfisher, if you're really lucky, zip past the boat. And these are all moments that are happening to you, but at such a pace that it's impossible to get away from them. You can let your mind wander and be distracted in the way that our minds do like to do that sort of stuff. But then you are out there for so long, your mind has to come back to reality. And just look at this. This is a place called The Brow, a big hill between Oswestry and Ellesmere that I used to have to cycle up. But getting to the top here, I'd take a little breather after pedalling my little legs off, and look at where I am. Look at this. This is the start of a work day for me. And as a little side note here, as one of those exceptional standout moments of life, almost the cycling equivalent of seeing a kingfisher from the back of the boat, we've got a balloon there, and lo and behold, when we had ridden a little bit further down the hill, it had landed and parked up at the side of the road. As a little point of interest here, I'm amazed at their bravery in fetching it so close to the trees. I think I'll stick to my boat and my bike rather than leaving terra firma or the gentle waters of the canals. So you can see now I'm getting the rest and relief of the downhill section of the ride. Now, however much I may enjoy resting my legs at this point, I am of course more than well aware that I've got 8 hours of work in a supermarket ahead of me before I have to pedal all the way back up all this at the end of the day to get back home before waking up early and doing it all over again the following day. So we pass over this little bridge. The canal is just beneath us there. That's the Narrowboat Inn, a lovely local canal side pub, and a Wittington wharf next to it. Down that little lane to the right hand side, another canal side pub, sadly closed at the moment. Mad Jack's, that one goes by the name of. And look at this, our first real vehicle and bit of traffic, and it's a farm vehicle up and out and about early as always. I would say this almost certainly was a Sunday morning, maybe 6 a.m-ish. I wouldn't like to put an exact time on it, but let's just say it's a beautiful, quiet morning with very little traffic. And as if all of the sights and scenes we've seen from our bicycle this morning isn't enough, we're passing by Wittington Castle, which to me is just an exceptional feature. This is exemplary of a romantic set of castle ruins. You've got the old gateway there, and then all that ruined section to the left-hand side, and then in front of all this, you've got a lovely moat, which of course in the modern era is basically a big duck pond. So as I say, this particular bike ride is the epitome of everything that's fantastic about spending your life in this sort of outdoors, active and rural way. And of course, I know as we cross the railway lines here that it's not always this good weather. I've done many videos speaking at length about the negative side of boat life and the realities of the long, hard, grinding winters. But even those moments when you're just settled on your boat, the rain's hammering on the roof and the windows, you've got the fire lit, and life's all good. They're the sort of things that, again, you can't help but realise how cosy, how wonderfully peaceful the environment is. You can see here we're crossing over the main bypass road, so I'm taking it very sensibly and carefully. And the fact that this is our first moment of seeing any real traffic definitely suggests to me that this is a Sunday morning nice and early, and all those people are heading off to the coast for the day. The lovely trip to the Welsh coast at, I don't know, Fairborn, Barmouth, Towyn, any number of wonderful locations in this region. So you can see here I've arrived at my hometown of Oswestry and where I was working at the time, and of course you do it all again at the end of the day. And when you're coming home to a place like this and walking your bike up the jetty, now I only ever temporarily stopped in the marina here, and as much as it's a beautiful place, the real beauty we know is out and about on the canal, which is why we're going to end this video now with a little bit of extra footage of the beautiful summer's boat trips. But look at that perfect shot there, the setting sun as I pack my bike up onto the roof for the night and know that I've had another lovely day and been lucky enough to experience a good couple of hours in the great outdoors, even fit in around my workday. And this little section of canal here, it's very near and dear to my heart. This is an area that I've come up and down hundreds and hundreds of times walking and on a bike, and goodness knows how else I may have been up and down here over the years. But that very first little bit of metal canal side is where I spent countless winters. Well, countless. I've spent maybe 4 winters on the old winter mooring scheme moored up there. And look at this again. We're seeing it here in the absolute beauty of a summer's day, and at 3 miles an hour maybe. But I got to spend day after day after day here. And of course, the weather over the winter months is not necessarily good, but with the fire lit, with the elements locked safely outside, some of the best moments of my life are spent just to the right-hand side of the screen right now. Thank you very much for watching, my friends. If you want to help me out, please consider checking out my Patreon for loads more free stuff as well as some exclusives, and checking out my short boat life books. Loads of links in the description. I'll see you around very soon.